seems to me that one of the things that we lose in some areas, I don't think in our particular areas is that big of a problem, in some areas, is the thing of insurance. People are concerned about how many people don't have insurance. And you referred more to health care than insurance. If it seems to me that we need
coverage.
Yeah.
That I do.
Well, health care coverage, but it seems to me like we need to reposition this and talk about health care rather than insurance. Insurance doesn't mean anything if the insurance doesn't give you health care. And so if we would reposition from health care coverage to health care and start making that the debate, that we could bring even more people on, because the policies or the programs that we've seen so far don't give us better health care, they give us worse health care. But still they get people involved, because now everybody's going to get insurance. So let's go a little different step.
Senator, I share your concerns about about the attempt to try to change the bill, make it a little more acceptable and bring some Republicans in. One of those is Senator Conrad's approach to take the public option and turn it into a co-op. And I think one of our concerns is that the co-op becomes the default public option that is sort of muted enough, just enough to attract enough Republican attention. But there are co-ops out there right now. I mean, there are co-ops around the country, nonprofit co-ops that provide health insurance. They usually contract with an insurer. But I think there's a little bit of concern that Conrad's approach actually becomes a sort of a stealth public option. The second thing is, and I think one of the key things, and I can tell you virtually all the conservative groups are opposed to, is the individual mandate requiring people have health insurance or pay a penalty. That's become sort of the linchpin of what's doing this. It's, as you know, a sort of a reflection of what they did in Massachusetts. But once you require people to have health insurance, then the government has to set the standards for what that health insurance is like, because otherwise you don't know whether or not you're breaking the law. And then once you set the standards and people say, well, if you're going to make me have health insurance, then you've got to make sure it's affordable for me, you just sort of open the door to the public option. So I would encourage you not only to oppose the public option, but actually to take a firm stand against the individual mandate and move to what you're talking about, which is going to the carrots rather than the sticks. The individual mandate is an all-stick approach, and you can offer the tax credits or other types of tax breaks and other incentives to try to draw people in and not have to use that thing, which I think once you do the individual mandate and the penalties, I think the House bill, 2.5% is penalty of your income. It's a fairly significant penalty.
Oh, well, in the House bill you have the taxation of the rich, which is a lot of small businesses that are subchapter S's, and you have then the fines, and then you have, it's a disincentive to hire people or build our economy, and then all of the other costs, I just think is wrong-headed. And I think really the most simple is what you said. Just treat everyone alike, and then portability is not an issue. And if we could come to that conclusion, I think people would say, great, because that is a private sector solution. But the co-op will become a government co-op. It's not going to be a private sector co-op that they are envisioning. And so those are the kinds of things that we've got to understand the details of it. You know, when President Clinton came out with the Hillary Care, what started sinking that was when people started realizing what it meant and what was going to happen, and they started putting meat on the bones, and people said, oh my gosh. For instance, one of the things that I looked at when we were questioning the people who had put forward this plan back in the Clinton years was a woman under 40 would not be eligible in the government program for mammogram. Not kidding. Your mother and your sister have breast cancer? No, you're not eligible. There was no, it was the beginning of the rationing of health care. It was the beginning of Canada and Great Britain. So that's what you start learning when you get into the government option or the government co-op or when you take it out of the private sector.
I just have